Welcome into Factfinder Investigates. I'm Brandon Stitt. A deal for Boeing to buy back Spirit Aerosystems remains on the horizon. Reports now say the bid to buy Boeing will be a stock offer of $35 a share, not an all-cash deal as initially expected. Factfinder reporter Shawn Loging is taking a look at why Boeing is changing the terms of the deal.
While looking for stability, turbulence has defined Boeing the last few years.
Just stacked up one atop another, and they're hemorrhaging cash.
The last few months, Boeing has been pursuing a deal to buy back Spirit Aerosystems. Dr. Larry Straub, an associate professor of management at Newman University, says Boeing putting together an all-cash offer to buy its supplier likely wasn't going to work.
The first quarter of this year, they lost almost $4 billion in free cash flow. That's over $1 billion a month. They're on pace in the second quarter of the year to probably do that again and maybe a bit more.
Bloomberg News reported late Monday Boeing's offer to Spirit would be for $35 a share. Reuters estimates that at about $4 billion. A stock offer would allow Boeing to replace Spirit stock with a stake in Boeing's company.
In essence, they just fold back in and become a part of Boeing again, which again is where they were in the first place.
If this deal moves forward, Dr. Straub says it will still need the approval of regulators. This involves not just Boeing and Spirit, but airplane maker Airbus, which, while a smaller degree of its business, Spirit also supplies. Boeing is expected to take over the share of Spirit that produces parts for its planes. Airbus would acquire the production lines that makes parts for its planes.
A lot of complexity. It's going to take a lot of focus to put this deal together at a time when their focus needs to be really zeroed in on their quality and their organization and their cultural issues.
Now, some local aircraft manufacturers are wondering what's next. And now that Boeing has made an offer to buy back Spirit, Factfinder reporter Brock Wilson spoke with those suppliers about their concerns and the future of their work.
I don't know that anybody does as much defense as we do.
Globe Engineering CEO Jeff Teague sums up his reaction to Boeing possibly buying back Spirit in one word.
Concern.
Because most of the work they do for Spirit is defense related, and
none of it's Boeing defense. It's Northrop Defense, Spirit, Lockheed Defense, Sikorsky Defense, other OEMs. And I don't know how they'll work letting Boeing keep, I know they won't let Boeing keep that work.
So that begs the question, what will happen to all of that work if the Spirit acquisition goes through?
There's enough of a defense scare now with everybody inshoring all the work back into the States, so somebody's going to do it.
But who that someone would be is unknown.
Hopefully we'll have that opportunity, but we may not have that relationship that we have with that tier one that we do with Spirit.
The future of that work really depends on what happens to those contracts.
Are they going to be able to leave some of that work with somebody buy a portion of the Spirit entity, and keep that defense, located here in Wichita, or will it move?
But for now, it's status quo at Globe Engineering.
It'll be interesting to see what that's that contract wording and what they actually do. So we'll just keep plugging away.
Now, Teague says that other local suppliers do more commercial work for Spirit, so they won't likely be as impacted as much as his company. But with the amount of defense work that his company does do, it is possible that they could be affected the most. Starting this week, Kansas's only toll road, the Kansas Turnpike, will go cashless. Travelers will likely reach their destinations just a little bit faster come July 1st. Drivers I spoke with are happy to hear about this change. From its start in the 50s, drivers using part of Kansas's 236 miles of the Turnpike had one thing in common.
When you first get on, trying to get through everybody, get your ticket.
Then you stop to pay when you get off.
Then you got to wait a couple minutes normally for that.
But come July 1st, all that starting and stopping is coming to an end. With this new technology, the Kansas Turnpike will read your car's license plate, or K-tag, and you won't have to stop at all. For Tim Parker and Rick Barnhart, they're happy.
It's awesome. That'll be awesome. Yeah.
The Kansas Turnpike Authority says the new modern cashless tolls will make traveling more convenient and easier to process tolls. And with no more stopping at one of these, the highway will be safer.
You can keep going 70, 75, whatever the speed limit is up there, and not have to slow down.
KTA now offers free K-tags. Those users save 50% on their tolls. Those without K-tags will get their tolls in the mail. For Tim, it's making travel easier.
This just makes it a lot easier. I'm pleased with it.
Now, after this transition, the toll plazas will be demolished over the next 18 months. KTA is also launching a new website for account access. It's driveks.com.
They hold all the cards. They hold all the cards. And they're not being, and the DoD is not being held responsible.
Families of service members continue to push for more transparency on military providers. We get access to confidential documents revealing more about the system. That's next on Factfinder Investigates.